I will now explain to you how the automation mode external source works, which you can find on the left right here. From here, you will be able to configure a new source in this way. So in this case, I can absolutely configure a new external source within one of my existing projects. And you'll see that there are quite a few little things to set up. I'll explain how it can work, but it's extremely powerful. So first of all, pre-configure the content. So the project in this case, let's say it's looter, shooters. For the persona, well, I can choose my persona here. To change things up a bit, let's select, for example, the persona Victor here. Right here, we'll choose the language and we'll select the length, either automatic or a specific length. Additional information. So for example, here, this is a site that talks exclusively about looter shooters, which is a type of video game. I want you to talk only about the following games. The Division 2, for example. We'll just put the Division because you never know if there might be a Division 3, so it's important to keep it general. Global, Destiny. Anyway, you get the idea. The point is really to show you. So here you can give it additional information to make it relevant to your topic. Once that's done, you can also tell it to avoid talking about a certain game, avoid covering a certain type of content, etc. Next, you'll be able to, and this is what's really exceptional, with the automation mode as well, you can base it on a TikTok account, a YouTube channel, or a lot of other things in principle. So that's what I'm going to try to show you. If I search for the Division 2 on YouTube, for example, I'll find channels about the topic. So for instance, here we have Matt Joe right here, who talks about a lot of things, but not just the Division 2. So the idea is to find a creator who talks a lot about the Division 2. Apparently, this person here talks about it quite a lot. So in this case, I could add the URL of their YouTube channel and, for example, put looter shooters here. So LS, and I'll write YouTube Drekis. So, all right, Drekis, let's respect his username. There we go. Here, I could put it in. The content is generated directly, for example. And right here, I'm going to tell it to fetch only the content about the game, Division. There you go. In quotes, for example. Limit of 1 then. The frequency, it's the type of entity. It's articles and not articles. Discover. Every day I want it to be priority 1, but for example, I could set it to another priority. 2, I'll explain to you just after what that's about. And the limit, 1 is the most relevant. And so I look here in the publishing options. I want a short news box. I want tables, bullet lists, external sources. I'll do without them. I want a cover image. I want images in the content. I want internal linking. I want bolded words, and the rest is fine. For now, for publishing, I'll simply link it to looter shooters. I'm going to link it to Zaliden, which is my pseudonym, automatically, and I'm going to set it to publish directly. That way, the articles are published completely automatically. Once that's done, I save and we wait a little bit. And you'll see that the source will be added. And so here we've just added a source inside my project, looter shooter, which already exists. And I'll show you in more detail, once the source is added, what actually happens inside this project on a day-to-day basis and how to configure it properly so that it's effective. So in principle, it should work. And that's it, we're done. The Draki source has just been activated here. So in this case, I was pretty happy with my project at the moment. So before deleting this source, I'm going to show you a little bit of what's currently happening with this project. We have different creators here, whether it's YouTube, here Planet Destiny from a game called Destiny. This is someone who creates French content about Destiny. Here we have a website about Warframe, which is apparently a French language reference as well. We have an English-speaking creator called Nothing But Skills, who makes content exclusively about Division. Here we have someone else who creates content, probably about Destiny or about, I don't even know. Here we have Gameblog. Here we have Altis, who is also a creator focused on Division. So once all of this is listed in this way. What's interesting is that every day I can decide directly in my project that daily and at midnight, 2 articles will be fetched, if they're relevant, from all these sources to be automatically published on my site. And you can see that today, for example, this little automation didn't find anything relevant to publish. So it didn't publish anything, but I'll show you that in the past and regularly, in fact, it does find relevant things. But today that's not the case because either there wasn't any new content or if there had been something relevant, it could have published from these sources up to twice a day. So that's extremely interesting. And what it actually does is, for example, let me show you the video from Nothing But Skills. There you go. It goes into these latest videos. Here, 2 weeks ago, there's a build on the division. So it's a specific video on the topic. Well, there's a good chance that if the automation judged this video to be relevant, content was created based on what is said inside the video. But be careful, it's absolutely not plagiarism. We take the topic of the content, we take some information present in the content, and we recreate a topic that is intended to be positioned on the subject of the content. So just because you're using this type of source doesn't mean you're plagiarizing. However, what I recommend you do is not to directly use ideally French-speaking sources, but rather to source your content from abroad, since it will be more effective and you'll be less of a nuisance to potential competitors whom you absorb and monitor in this way. That's how it works. And now I'm going to show you concretely what it looks like with this website, which is fully powered automatically using Wisewand's automatic mode. So we can see that the latest content here, we had a piece of content on the 5th. We had 2 pieces on the 5th. Before that, it was the 2nd, the 31st, the 29th, the 29th. So regularly, we get content when it's relevant, roughly speaking. So here, for example, we have a division event that's automatically covered with content on the topic. Here, apparently, we have a commercial offer from Ubisoft for the Division Definitive, which is a kind of all-in-one offer. So again, there's content here. Here it's about Destiny. Here it's about Borderlands, so another game. And in fact, automatically my site publishes new relevant content for my audience every day, or at least whenever it's necessary and appropriate. And in this way, my site's visits go up, even though I'm not taking care of it at all. So now you know exactly how the automatic mode works. And I just want to tell you that with this external source mode, you can plug directly into an Instagram account, you can plug directly into a TikTok account, you can plug directly into a website, and of course into a YouTube channel. There are very few limits to the different plugs you can use to feed your sites with content. So take advantage of it.